Are you tired of starting over on a health program? I'm going to show you how the 7 Systems plan helps your body finally respond to the correct things. Most people that are here have tried a healthy program at some point in their life, and maybe it wasn't the right program, or maybe it was the right program and they just didn't stick with it. We're going to give you some very helpful information in the next few minutes. All kinds of diet programs, exercise programs, supplements out there that you can do. And effort is needed, but effort's usually not the problem. The problem is if your systems in your body aren't functioning correctly, then you're just not going to have the results that you want to have, no matter how hard you try. Why doesn't your body respond anymore? This is a question a lot of people ask me. They're frustrated. They're confused. When the systems of the body aren't working correctly, then often symptoms start to show up like fatigue and food craving and inflammation and weight gain. Those are just the symptoms. Weight's not the problem, it's a signal. It's a signal that your body's trying to communicate with you that your systems aren't working correctly. You may have seen a diagram like this before. All the symptoms that people have could be up here: low energy, weight gain, mood problems. Those are just the symptoms. That's not what you work on. What you work on is the cause. And the cause are the systems in your body that control those things. Until the underlying systems are supported, digestion, hormones, energy, inflammation, the results you get are always just going to be temporary. And that's why so many people feel stuck. About 25 years ago now, I went through functional medicine training because I wanted to understand these systems and I wanted to help people that had problems with them. And it was very good training. I learned a lot from that, and after going through the training, I kind of broke the systems down into this category. These 7 systems. These are the 7 systems, the most important systems that control everything about your health. 2 years later, I made a discovery. And the discovery was any one of these systems can block weight loss. Any one of these systems can lower energy. Any one of these systems can make you inflamed. So it's not one system that needs to be focused on. It's all 7 systems. How these systems function determines everything about your health. People with great system function are going for a jog, while people with poor system function are going to the hospital. People with great system function are spending their time with family, while people with poor system function are going to the nursing home. You have a lot of control about what happens with your health, especially in the last half of your life. So the solution to weight and health problems is to get these systems working correctly. And after working with this for a few years, I made another discovery. Every system can affect the function of another system. So it's extra important that they're all working correctly. Continuing to work with functional medicine, I discovered a simple way to evaluate each of these 7 systems and identify system malfunction. Rather than spending thousands and thousands of dollars on testing to see what's going on, it's really not that difficult. And after doing this a while, I also found out there's really some simple ways to get each of these 7 systems working correctly. It's not that difficult. So working with groups of people was my first step, like this group, and we got a great group here tonight. I decided to write a manual for my patients to use, and that was the 7 Systems Plan book, and I'm very happy that it became an Amazon bestseller, and started helping people in different parts of the United States. And then I put my course online to help people that weren't in this area. And now we have people in almost every state in America that are going through the 7 Systems Plan, and it's even gone beyond that. We have 7 countries around the world where patients are going through the 7 systems plan. I love helping you get your health back. I love educating you. And I love speaking to people about their systems. And I started getting invited to speak to doctors. And I've spoken to groups around the United States. In a couple months, I'll be speaking to 600 doctors in St. Louis. And I love training them. And a lot of them are wanting to implement a plan like the 7 systems plan in their office. So we started doing that. We started taking them through some training, and we now have providers in 15 states. We just added Pennsylvania last week, and we had 8 new physicians jump in the last month. So I love doing this. And I love this because it changes lives. And one of the lives it changed is Andy. And Andy happens to be here tonight. So I'm going to have Andy come up here and tell you what happened with his transformation.
Man, those don't look good, do they? Hi guys, I'm Andy. I've done this, 2 years now, almost? And what started it for me is I just went into a normal doctor's appointment, and they diagnosed me with diabetes. And I just went, man, I don't want to do that. And they were talking about medications and putting me on that stuff, and I just didn't want to do that. Some of the side effects of that stuff is pretty gnarly, and some friends just kind of recommended that I check out the 7 systems plan and Dr. Luce, and so I came over and did that, and so I lost just about 100 pounds. I was on blood pressure meds way before that, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, so I never ended up on the diabetes medication. My A1C is back down in the normal range, and I'm off of all my blood pressure meds, and that's where I'm at. So it works. Here I am.
And how do you feel now compared to before?
Just way better. Just the energy level. I didn't think I realized how run down I was. Just what that is, and then just the things you can do. The amount of time that I spend just I really like walking, like being outside, just doing that. I didn't realize how much time I just sat on the couch and didn't do anything. And so I just feel way better, way more active. And, I've got 4 kids, so just knowing that I'm doing something to be proactive, to know that I'll be there for them is a big deal.
Very good. Give Andy a hand.
Thanks, guys.
I just got notified today that a friend of mine has a son, and he's diabetic. He is right now having his foot amputated because of the diabetes. It's just something that does not need to happen. You can reverse type 2 diabetes. We do it all the time here. All right, stay with me. Everyone here is going to get a free hormone test, and I'm going to show you a very powerful 1-minute video at the end of our session here. So the 7 systems plan is different because we don't focus on the symptoms, we focus on the underlying root cause of it, the systems that aren't working correctly. And I want to give you an example of how we do that. GLP-1, who's heard of GLP-1 here? All right, that's the weight loss drug everybody's on. GLP-1 is not a bad thing. It is a hormone that your body produces. It signals your brain that you're full, you just ate, so it turns off appetite. It helps regulate blood sugar. And after a period of time, GLP-1 goes down, and you eat, and then it spikes again, kind of slowing down appetite and everything. That's when things are working correctly. When they're not working correctly, that doesn't happen. So people go to these drugs and start injecting massive amounts of them into their body at a significant cost. The cost is coming down, but thousands of dollars are going to be spent on this. Here's what ends up happening. Half the people drop it within a year because of the side effects. They can be significant, and even death. There are a lot of deaths, not a lot percentage-wise, but a lot of deaths from this. You can have significant intestinal problems. And when you discontinue the drugs, injections, what happens? Unless you've made substantial changes in your lifestyle, and I don't think many people have if they're using the drug, everything's going to come back. In fact, studies show the appetite comes back in spades when you stop using the drug. And the absolute biggest reason I don't like these drugs, 30 to 40% of the weight loss is from loss of lean mass. That's your muscle. So what happens when you lose a lot of muscle? It slows your metabolism down and it makes it even harder to keep the weight off. Why not use practical, safe ways to boost GLP-1? And I'm going to give you one example of how we do that with the 7 Systems Plan. Here's how your body produces GLP-1. If you have the correct gut bacteria, now remember that, if you have the correct gut bacteria, you eat a meal, the bacteria help metabolize the food, but they also help produce butyrate and P9 protein. And those two things go to the L cells in your body and they say, crank up the GLP-1. GLP-1 goes up, appetite goes down, and you're fine until the next meal. That's the way it should be. That's why you shouldn't be hungry all the time. Your body should be making this stuff. Most Americans, unfortunately, don't have the correct gut bacteria. So they eat a meal and nothing happens. Their body is not signaled to produce GLP-1, so they're hungry and they eat too much. So one of the missing links in people losing weight is not having the correct gut bacteria. This is a huge factor. And there are only 2 kinds of bacteria, 2 kinds of probiotics that help produce GLP-1, and one of them is Akkermansia. It is the most important bacteria, and it is something I believe everybody should be taking. So here's a choice: weight loss injection drugs or a probiotic. It seems like a simple choice to me. Let me show you one more way GLP-1 is produced. As food goes down through your intestinal tract, when it reaches the L cells, then GLP-1 is produced and appetite is decreased. But look where the L cells are. They are in the lower part of the intestinal tract. Now here's the problem. If you eat ultra-processed food, and we'll talk about that in a minute, where is fast food absorbed? It doesn't take a lot of work for your body to break that down, so it's absorbed up there. There's very few L cells up there. If you eat unprocessed food, like we teach you to do on the 7 Systems Plan, that's where it is processed. So it is constantly stimulating your body to produce GLP-1 and reduce your appetite. Currently, and this is alarming, 2/3 of the average American diet is ultra-processed junk food. In fact, 73% of all the food produced in America is ultra-processed food, which is just way, way out of line. I've thought this for years. Wouldn't it be a cool thing if there was a app you could use that would take a picture of your food and give you a smart swap for that ultra-processed food? I'm going to talk about that in a minute. What else can we do? Well, how about thylakoids? Who's heard of thylakoids? All right, a few of my class members have. It is a significant thing that can help produce more GLP-1. All it is the membrane around green plants. It's the membrane that helps these plants produce chlorophyll. Lots of thylakoids there. Why does Dr. Pat say eat your leafy greens? Thylakoids is a big reason. These thylakoids resist digestion, so they don't break down and they go clear down the intestinal tract. It takes several hours for them to get broken down, so guess what they're getting down to? Those L cells. And not only that, thylakoids are kind of unique in that they trap food and they take that food down farther into the intestinal tract. So does it really help boost GLP-1, thylakoids? In long-term studies, GLP-1 was significantly increased by thylakoids, both the first day and even more the last day of thylakoid treatment. All right, so they boost GLP-1. Do they actually cut cravings? Here's a study where they mix some thylakoid powder. Actually, it was 1 teaspoon of greens. So spinach, a half a cup of spinach, they dehydrated it. It's 1 teaspoon of greens. Mix that with the jam. And what happened? Hunger decreased 21%. Cravings decreased 36%. Satiety increased 14%. And decreased liking of sweets, 28%. In fact, in the study, they offered these people candy afterwards, and the ones on thylakoids said, that's not necessary. I want to encourage you, eat your greens, and would it hurt to add a little powdered greens to a shake in the morning? I think that's a great thing to do, and that's what I do. So Haley, one of our members, 50 pounds in 14 weeks. Diane in Iowa, does she look younger? She looks younger. Her body is younger. How about this teenager? Do you think she feels better? Over 100 pounds weight loss? Now, this is kind of what I see with patients that come into their office. Mark and Pam. So Mark was plotting his weight loss on a fitness app, and in 1 year, he lost 5 pounds. Now, that wouldn't be very satisfactory for me, but that's kind of what happens with people that just diet and exercise. Right here, what do you think he did? He came to this class, and that's what happened. He hit his weight loss goal, and even more significantly, they lost 100 pounds, but doctors took them off all their medications. And that's what I love. You gotta work to get off medications. They all have side effects. We help people that have significant weight problems too. This is Kevin, 170 pounds. You know what the key to him succeeding was? He discovered he had a food addiction, and we addressed that. Dustin and Sarah, 270 pounds. The solution to these weight and health problems, again, is to fix these 7 systems. So let's take a quick look at each of these 7 systems so you kind of understand what they are. The first is your structural system, your bone, muscle, and fat. Now, we address all of these things in our course, but I want to just talk about Candy. She had problems with bone, muscle, and fat. She had all 3 problems in the structural system. And when we look at fat cells, most people think fat is bad, but it's not. Fat is your friend if it's working correctly. It helps energy balance, insulin sensitivity, appetite regulation, inflammatory response, vascular homeostasis. It's a very helpful thing when it's working correctly. And guess when it stops working correctly? When there's too much. Too many fat cells, or those fat cells are too stuffed. Now they're not happy fat cells. The happy fat cells behave, don't suck up all the calories, and give you energy. That's what we want. That's what I have. When they're angry, they drain your energy, they make you hungry and tired, and they make you gain even more weight. Fortunately, we have a simple 3-step process to get rid of these angry fat cells, and we get rid of them fast. You're not going to lose a small amount of weight every week. You're going to lose a lot of weight every week because it works best when you get the weight off quickly. And that's what Candy did, 100 pounds of weight loss. Now, that was many years ago. I did have a picture of her 13 years after she did that, and there she is, age 73 with one of her grandkids. We've got another class member here. Tina's going to come up. Now, Tina didn't need to lose 100 pounds, but she had some very good results with the 7 Systems plan.
Yeah, I just remember I've tried everything, and I was just kind of living. I am a food addict as well, especially with sugar, and I'm an emotional eater. That's what I discovered about myself. I eat no matter what. If I was happy, sad, bored, I just felt like I always had to eat. And I remember I was working an event at the church, and I was helping and volunteering for this women's event, and someone stopped me. I felt terrible at the end of the day. Someone said, "Are you feeling okay?" So I'm like, man, I must really look bad too. And I looked at my watch. I remember thinking, I have 6,000 steps, and I feel like I've been hit by a train. I was exhausted. So I made my sister had gone through the program years ago for autoimmune. disorders and had a lot of success. So I made the appointment and came and just made that commitment. I also had a major birthday and I wanted to be around for my children. So it has changed my life completely, and it's educated me about balance in my life and correcting systems, not just a quick fix.
And if you know Tina, she's got lots of energy now. She's always on the go. Let's give Tina a hand. Here's another person who went through the plan: Julie in Ohio, Mike in Nebraska, Brandy in Iowa. Now that's 10 years difference. Who looks younger? Fix your systems. Second system in the body is your digestive system. And we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but this is the second most important system. You have to have your digestive system working correctly, and most Americans do not. Lucinda came in to see me with type 1 diabetes. Now, type 1, you're always going to be on medications. Type 2, we're going to fix that problem. But it was out of control. A1C was way over 10. She'd been to all kinds of specialists. They tried everything. Nothing was helping. So she came in to see me, and what I saw was digestive system problems stood out. GI pain, acid reflux, depression, mood swings, reactions to food. So we focused on her digestive system first. And if you haven't gotten this by now, your gut bacteria is extremely important. Your gut bacteria actually, to a significant degree, control your brain. These bacteria help determine what you eat, when you eat, and how much you eat. So we've talked about akkermansia and boosting GLP-1. There's studies on probiotics making you less hungry. In fact, in this study, they ate 300 calories less a day just by taking the probiotic. So we fixed Lucinda's digestive system and her other systems, and her and Monty lost 220 pounds, and her A1C went from out of control to really, really good numbers. Larry came through the program just to support his wife and ended up losing 50 pounds and got off all 10 of his medications. I just love seeing that. And one of the medications he was on was an acid reflux medication that he had been on for many years. Now, I'm going to tell you that is a severe problem when you're on an acid reflux medication for that long. You don't want to be on that for more than weeks. If you fix the problem, most of the time that is not necessary. Delivery system. The heart and blood vessels need to be functioning optimally, and we need to be delivering the correct food to these systems. So when I was developing the 7 Systems Plan many years ago, I looked at the best programs out there, the best diets out there. Mediterranean, whole food, plant-based, fasting and fasting mimic diets. And I took the best parts of each of those and I made the 7 Systems Plan. And you can imagine, we've got to cut this stuff down, the ultra-processed food. In fact, I don't think it's possible to be healthy if that's the main part of your diet. We need to move to more unprocessed foods. A little bit's okay once in a while, but you cannot have that as the basis of your diet. Studies now link these ultra-processed foods to 32 different health problems. It is the main problem that we have in America. And what do you think about the new guidelines? I've been saying for years, they got this upside down. They got way too much grains in it, and they flipped it upside down. They got close. This top corner I still have a problem with, but they are much better than they were before. So we make it simple for you on the 7 Systems Plan. Here's your eating list. There's 10 food categories that are extremely good. You want to try to get those categories in. The green foods are what you eat. The red foods are what you stay away from. And if you're trying to lose weight, I don't want you to eat less. I want you to eat more. That will help you lose weight. If you're eating less, you're always going to be hungry and it's going to be difficult. And it can be tasty. All right, so meat is good, but we don't want too much meat. So guess what my wife put in that meatloaf? There's some carrots in there, and there's oats in there. And there's some meat in there, but there's 6 food groups in that meal. Very tasty. Lots of delicious things, and we have recipes and menu plans for you. It's not hard to follow. So Rhonda in Texas joined because of obesity, high cholesterol, IBS, and fatty liver, and got rid of all of those problems in 6 months. We help people get off blood pressure medication. Almost every month, someone is coming off a blood pressure medication. We fix the problem. You don't need that most of the time. The energy system is the next system. This system makes all the energy that the other systems need. Every cell has at least 1,000 mitochondria, little factories inside the cell that crank out energy. And you should have lots of energy. Unfortunately, by age 50, you may have lost half your mitochondria. And that is going to make your energy go way down. And that's what happened to Alice. Low mitochondria. She was obese, no energy, slept a lot, on 8 prescriptions, and she came in her first meeting, she said, I just want to feel good again. It was easy to figure out she had depleted her mitochondria because of her poor diet, lack of key nutrients that those mitochondria need, and also she was a late night eater. If you eat late at night, you're going to kill your mitochondria. So we fixed that. We put her on the right nutrients. We introduced her to time-restricted eating, and we started her walking and then aerobic exercise and then interval training, and she responded tremendously. We sent her back to her doctor. Her doctor said, you don't need any of those medications now. All 8 medications gone. And she had 600% more energy. And after being widowed for many years, she actually started dating again. I don't promise that, but Jim's one of our recent graduates. He was overweight, had a bad diet, a lot of stress, and some other significant health problems. Went through the 7 Systems plan and felt like a young person again. In fact, he posted this on our members' Facebook page. I'm 70 years old and I just finished biking 4,000 miles in 2025. And he could probably go another 4,000. He's just full of energy. The communication system helps all of the systems talk to each other through hormones, nerves, and neurotransmitters. We teach you about 7 key hormones in our course, and I want to talk about just one of them tonight, and that is insulin. Now, insulin, probably one of the absolute most important hormones. It is your energy hormone, and it is your fat storage hormone. So you got to have the right level of insulin in your blood. In this 11-year study, they found that high levels of insulin were predictive of obesity, heart disease, hypertension, stroke, cancer, and diabetes. What's that? That's the main killers in America. In the same study, people with low levels of insulin had no disease and no weight problems. Jody came in. Her doctor said, Jody, you're obese. Lose weight. So for 6 months, she diets and exercises, and guess how much she lost? Nothing. She was really trying, too. She was obese, food cravings, poor diet, no energy, stressed, and she could not lose weight. So what did I check on Jody, her first testing? Her insulin. And guess what? Her insulin was high, 17. Now, if your insulin's high, it's going to be very difficult for you to lose weight. You got to lower insulin, and we can knock that down fast. It should be less than 5. So you can do a blood test to check your insulin, and a lot of our providers out there do. Or you can do this test right now. And if you haven't done this, do this. Want everyone to do, make your hand like this. All right, and now turn that hand upside down and pinch right here. The more you have right here, the higher your insulin is. It's actually a pretty accurate test, that belly fat. So what happened when we helped Jody lower her insulin and cortisol, the stress hormone? 60 pounds in 6 months. Defense system. You've heard of your tonsils, lymph nodes, bone marrow, and gut lymph tissue, maybe not? That gut lymph tissue is 80% of your defense system, your immune system. Here's an actual picture of it. That's your intestinal tract. There's that gut lymph tissue surrounding it. Now, if you've got the wrong bacteria in your gut, or you have leaky gut, or irritable bowel problems, you're going to be triggering that defense tissue to do bad things to your body, like cause autoimmune disease or cause inflammation. And Cindy was in that category. She had significant inflammation. You can see her knees swollen. And the reason she came to join the 7 Systems Plan is she couldn't get down on the floor to play with her grandkids. And she wanted to do that. So we got her defense system working correctly, turned off the inflammation. And I want to ask you, do you think she could get down on the floor now? I actually saw Cindy doing jumping lunges with weights in her hand. So Marla had fibromyalgia, and she had the worst fibromyalgia I've ever seen in my life. 20 years of severe pain. It was so bad, that's how she had to shop. She had to use the cart. And in 6 months, fibromyalgia of 20 years is gone, and no more shopping cart. Last system in your body is the detox system. This system helps get the waste out of your body. 5 very important organs that need to be functioning correctly. And if they don't, you have problems. As Steve did. Steve had fatty liver disease. In fact, he had the highest liver enzymes I've ever seen. Now, what does that mean? If that stays like that, it destroys your liver and you need a liver transplant. 75% of overweight people have fatty liver disease. It is a bad and serious problem. But it can be corrected. 6 months. His doctor can't believe his liver enzymes are perfectly normal. So let me just make sure you have the big picture. If you have goals to lose weight and get healthy, if you have 3 plants that are dying, and you give one sunlight, a different one water, and a different one plant food, will any of those plants live? No. But what if you give all 3 of those things to a plant? Then we got what it takes. Do you see now? You need to get each of these 7 systems working correctly if you want to have ideal weight and health. If you're looking for a program to help you with weight loss and health, it should have these 7 components. A clinically proven plan, and we have thousands of blood tests proving our plan works. Education, and I've highlighted that. That is the most important thing. People who go through this course are the most educated people in the world about keeping their health like it should be. Accountability is provided. A few key supplements. There's a few things that are just so important you got to be on them, like vitamin D3 with K2. That would be on my absolute, you got to take that list. And fasting mimic diets. We teach you how to work into that. Finding what works for you. So we've got options too. So everybody doesn't have to do exactly the thing. We want you to discover what works for you. And then testing. Now some of the testing can be lab testing, but every lesson almost that you get as you go through the course, you'll have a simple, free, at-home test you can do to see how the system's working. There are several ways to go through the 7 Systems Plan. The absolute best way is to join your healthcare provider in his office, and they will provide everything that's needed. You can also, if you're not near one of our 7 Systems provider, join the online course and get almost all of the benefits. The course includes lessons on every system of your body, and all you got to do is go through 1 lesson a week for 6 months and you have it down. We give you every tool that I've come up with. I've been doing this for over 40 years, and I know some things make it very helpful, like doing a food addiction test to see what degree of food addiction you have. And if you're higher on that scale, there's some things you need to do. And men, checking your testosterone. We have bonus lessons that are included in the course in addition to the systems lessons, like your microbiome. Your gut bacteria, that's so important. We have a whole lesson on that. Fasting and fasting mimic diet, food addiction, and spicing up your love life. Now that's a popular one that we like. We have a private community for all of you who go through the program, and there's lots of encouragement and helpful things on there. There's a workbook you can download or your provider may provide. I want you to take some notes as you're going through the class so you can apply it. Every lesson, we're going to give you a few things to do, and that will be a tremendous help for you. And then the next lesson, you get a few more. And if you do need any supplements, we give you a great price from a very good supplement company. For a couple years now, I've been thinking, what can I do to help make it easier for people to use the 7 Systems plan? And one of the things that I have decided to do is develop an app. So I'm over a year into developing the app. I want you to be able to take a picture, have it analyze your food, and give you a lot of feedback. Like how much of the ultra-processed food is on your plate and in your diet? How much of the good 10 foods are on there? We encourage you and show you how to eat from the 10 food groups. And there's a smart swap feature too. All right, you got French fries on there. It'll give you a couple healthy alternatives. And there is also a just 2-minute micro lesson every day because I want you to continue to be educated. We teach you how to fast and use fasting timers. We give you a nutrition trend for the week, for the month, so you can see how you're doing. We give you a weekly progress. Hey, look at this. Your green foods are up 25%. Your fiber's up 5 grams. You got 8 of the 10 food groups in. And there's a lot more. Recipes, menu plans. You can save your recipes. You can generate a shopping list from that if you find a recipe that you like. This will be coming out in the next couple months, so look for that. So it's time to decide. It's time to take action. All of this is helpful, but it doesn't mean a lot unless you actually make some changes and jump in. The average American spends the last 1/3 of their life in disease and disability. So I'm in that group now. I'm 70, and I should be in that disability phase, but I'm not. I still play singles tennis. I still do everything I want because I've got this kind of lifespan. That's what we all want. We want to live longer, but we want the quality of our life at end to be enjoyable. Here's Wayne. He was definitely in that red zone, not enjoying life, lots of medications, obese. In 6 months, he's fixed. His doctor's taking him off all of his meds, and he's 60 pounds lighter. And here's what he said when he stood right here. He said, I feel 30 years younger. And his body was. I want to wrap it up by showing you a just brief video that kind of compares what happens to people on the 7 Systems plan versus what happens to the average American. Now, this isn't my video, but it fits very well.
What will your last 10 years look like? Will you be quick enough for a game of tag with your grandchild? Strong enough to embrace every moment? Will you grow old with vitality? Or get old with disease? It's time to decide. The average Canadian will spend their last 10 years in sickness.
Well, I got bad news for you. The average American will spend way more than that in sickness because of our lifestyle. I want to thank you very much for coming. Your 7 System provider will help you enroll if you have a 7 Systems provider. Otherwise, you can jump into our online course. We have a great group of doctors. If you're near one of their locations, that's what I'd encourage you to do. And be sure to join our members-only Facebook group and share your story. I just love hearing these stories of health transformations. Thank you.
I keep telling Dr. Anderson I'm going to be around for at least another 10 years. And I couldn't say that a few months ago. And I'm not getting any younger, so it was amazing how all of a sudden I seem to have a future, health-wise, which is great. My name is Robert Hay. I've been coming to this clinic approximately 2 months. The reason why I came here is that I've been on blood pressure and statin medications for approximately 12 years. My family doctor told me many times, plan on being on that for the rest of your life, which kind of bothered me. So then I went online and looked up holistic opportunities. I mentioned Champlin's the best one. Happened to be close to my home too, so that's what brought me here. It has changed my life drastically now that I'm off blood pressure and statins, with the idea I have more energy. Through the 7 Systems program, I've lost about 22 pounds in addition. So the combination along with fasting has worked out great, and I can see I'm going to be losing more weight, which is good. And just the fact that I feel so much better, didn't realize how poorly I felt on medications because I was on it for 12 years. I didn't realize it at the time. And just the fact that it tends to add stress to your life. You hear so much negative about statins, about blood pressure. So now I have virtually, I don't know about zero stress, but much less stress. Don't have any reason for stress now. And of course, after meeting you people, you're all so good at what you do, and you're turning out to be great friends of mine. So that's a big plus too. I keep telling Dr. Anderson I'm going to be around for at least another 10 years. And I couldn't say that a few months ago. And I'm not getting any younger, so it was amazing how all of a sudden I seem to have a future, health-wise, which is great. As it turns out, I'm very fortunate to have her as my primary doctor. And she steered me in the way of supplements right away, which have worked out great. I didn't mention that earlier, but the supplements are fantastic because I've tried supplements in the past and bought them from CVS and Costco, and they like taking placebos. They just didn't work. Well, these definitely work. And my latest blood pressure or blood draw, I guess, showed significant adjustments, all positive. So the supplements are working, the fasting is working, and the functional food is working. The biggest thing, it gave me direction as to how to address all these situations that I've discussed earlier. And the family doctor didn't really give me any direction. So the fact there's been direction here in those 3 pertinent situations, and they all work great. So that's been probably the biggest plus for me the last 2 months. Probably getting off the medications. In addition to getting supplements at work and meeting all you people, because you're all very successful. I'm not the only one, I'm sure. I'm sure a lot of people are in similar situations I am. And family doctors might go out of business with you people. I would say the biggest thing, it got me off the medication, which caused me to notice that I have much more energy now. Like with exercise, with interval training, I'm walking and then running for like 60 seconds. I haven't run in 20, 30 years, and I'm having no issues with that. So I'm just able to do so much more. But the only negative I can think of with 7 Systems is that it screwed up my golf swing. I have to work on getting the golf swing back after losing all that weight. But if that's the only issue, I'm not complaining. The fact that not much is covered insurance-wise is not an issue if you want to address all these situations. And I got into the program. It's not cheap, but the program works great. And I would tell them if they're interested in getting off their medications, which almost everyone is, to give this a shot, and it actually works as compared to so much out there that doesn't seem to.